Hello, and welcome to the My Amazon Guy Friday live Q&A. Oh, am I talking? I didn't unmute myself this time. Okay, well, either way, it's the My Amazon Guy Friday live Q&A. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm our sales director here at My Amazon Guy, and I am here to answer any and all of your questions. My camera is super weird today, so I'm going to make some changes to that. We have a bunch of questions. If you have one, put it in the chat now. I'm going to go in order, answering everything right after I fix my camera because I wasn't thinking to do that beforehand. But, here we go. You guys get to see the magic behind the scenes here of me doing my camera up. There we go. Perfect. All right, now we are ready to officially get started. And I appreciate my team on the back end who actually unmuted me. All right, first question of the day is from Blizzard Wolf. Hi, I have been told too that my seller activity fits into a different seller identity, such as UK sole proprietor, and that I have 60 days to change it. However, when I try to change, only gives me an option to change basic details such as driver's license and address. Should I reach out to seller support, and even considering how useless they are? Or if basic verification checks are done, just leave it? Had a negative, okay, so separate thing. So first and foremost, with all of this, whenever you're changing anything, so the basic business information, yeah, even if it says it's okay, if they're telling you that you need to change your identity information or anything or your business information, yes, I would go through the change. The reason they send out these preliminaries before even dinging your account in any way is solely for that aspect of they are saying, hey, this is going to happen. Regardless of whether or not anything is wrong on your account right now, this is going to happen. So therefore, you need to solve this problem, in your case, the business information, within the next 60 days, or we will deactivate your account in 60 days. So yes, go through, change the information, even if it's not asking it right now. I would go and change the information. They're just flagging you ahead of time so that you can get a jump start on it so you don't get hit with that deactivation. It's actually one of the nicer things that Amazon does for you at the end of the day. Let's see here. Again, Blizzard has had negative customer return, and the reason was wrong item was sent and also never arrived. This is purely Amazon's fault and not the seller's. Strong evidence against that. Amazon favors customers over sellers. So if in a review and in a return, so a return, it never matters as far as, if it's a negative customer return, okay. But if they left a negative review, Amazon will always remove reviews where they are the one who is the issue. So it's the only scenario in which Amazon will own up. And if it's feedback or it's a review or anything like that, yes, Amazon will absolutely remove those kind of reviews because it's not product experience related. It's not related to you. It's related to shipping. So if you're FBA and whatnot, yeah, just flag that, and Amazon should get rid of that feedback or that review. Let's see. Zane. This says 2. I don't see. Oh, I see the 1. I skipped it. Now it's gone. I have a team on the back end who is trying to help me, and I very much appreciate it regardless. Hi, Noah. So Steven always says to never have more than 5 keywords per campaign to avoid cannibalization. But does this rule apply to ad groups too? So for example, if you had a campaign such as Manual Broad and then had 2 ad groups called Manual Broad 1 and 2, each ad group with 5 keywords each, is it 5 keywords per campaign or per ad group? Steven means. So I'll actually answer this in 2 ways. First and foremost, I don't think you should have more than 1 ad group per campaign, personally speaking. I mean that full-heartedly. You realistically have the ability, yes, set up campaigns and then set up ad groups. I personally don't like running more than 1 ad group per campaign. So that's where I would start. And then secondarily, when we're looking at the idea of 5 keywords, technically that's on an ad group function, not a campaign function. So that is something to note. I typically say 5 to 10. 5 is really the perfect number, though, in my opinion, to really look at for any type of campaign. So that's how you handle that, is 5 per campaign. Technically, yes, but realistically, you should only have 1 ad group per campaign. At least that's how I like to run it. Hi, my sales down in a moment from 40 to 50 orders a day to 7 to 10. Started in the middle of October still. Xmas season was very bad. Now traffic is still very low. PPC only eats my money. The question, what to do? Well, a couple of different things. So this is kind of what I would call reviving a dead product, which we on our courses page, if you're interested, go to mag school or mag-school/courses. We have an entire campaign dedicated, or course dedicated, to reviving dead sales. That being said, couple of different things. You need to really identify why it is your sales have been dropping. Is it from the aspect of you have new competitors in the market that are eating up your ad spend and they are just bidding way higher than you can bid? Maybe they're a lower price as well, and so they've been very, very aggressive in taking over the market and market share. That's always entirely possible. These are things you just need to really keep a lookout for. A lot of times you can actually usually see that type of stuff in your brand analytics section of Amazon to see, are there new people in the market? How saturated has the market become in certain, quarters, etc. From there as well, I would also look at reinvigorating your sales through the idea of different types of promotions. So you can do things such as career connections, take a look at your SEO. Have you done any indexing lately? Did you potentially maybe have a category change? That's another very, very common area that I see people when like their sales just start plummeting. Turns out Amazon did a category change and they never even saw it. And now they're in the wrong category. And so they're never seen, right? So all of these are things that could be potentially happening for you. So that's where I would start, is digging in there. Unfortunately, there's not like a one size fits all bullet for this type of situation. Let's see. Minecraft. This makes me laugh every single week. I know. Does Q1 tend to historically have a lower conversion rate? Our conversion rate fell from 11% to 9%, in some weeks 8%. Anything to be concerned about? Our organic ranks are still fine. Yes, Q1 does tend to have a lower conversion rate overall. So when you think about it, the start of Q1 is very largely a bunch of people that just spent a crap ton of money in Q4 and they don't feel like spending money anymore, right? So that's where you have to really get into it and start understanding what it is that they are wanting. Like, what does the end consumer want and how is it that they're actually purchasing? So it's kind of purchase behavior and drivers at the end of the day. Q1, of course, if you spend a ton of money, I don't know, think about it. If you just bought a house, let's say, are you going to go out and you're going to start splurging on, a bunch of clothes or anything like that? No. So it's the same principle at the end of the day of people just don't buy as much, but they are still kind of shopping around, still looking. So you're just going to have a lower conversion rate overall. Hi, Noah. I have a question regarding business insurance. Ooh, this is interesting. From what I understand, when having insurance having insurance becomes a requirement on Amazon, for those that don't know, once you reach a point in which you are getting 10K per month in sales, Amazon requires you to have business insurance. This is something that every single seller has to do. The threshold is 10K a month in sales. So if you're not at that, you don't need to have it. But if you hit that at any point in time, Amazon then will require it from then on. You only need 1 month to hit that and they will require it. Back to it. They should reach out to me directly and notify me about it. Yep. I also know that this requirement typically appears after hitting, wow, you already knew, exceeding the first $10,000 in sales. However, despite surpassing $90,000 in sales on Amazon, I still haven't received any notification, email, or anything from them. Could you please tell me if I should take any action in this situation, or should I just wait for an email from Amazon and deal with it only when they contact me? What do you think? Thanks. So that's really interesting that you haven't been contacted about this. I actually haven't heard that before. It could have changed the system where they don't necessarily push it as frequently anymore. That being said, what I will always tell somebody to do, if you are doing any sizable amount of numbers in your business whatsoever, and you have any kind of product, just get business insurance. Like there's business insurance is so cheap. It's like $20 a month in some cases. That there is zero reason why you shouldn't have business insurance at the end of the day. Doesn't matter that you are an online seller, states away from someone who is going to purchase your product. The last thing you want is to be selling, I don't know, like a hand cream or something, and then someone has an allergic reaction or who knows what happens with it. I don't know, their kid eats it, right? Like there's a million things in the world that can happen. Business insurance is a lifesaver for when or if, I will say when those things happen, not if. So yeah, absolutely go through and do business insurance. There's plenty of providers out there. I'm trying to think the one that I used to use. It's called, I think, like Sellers Insurance or something. Let's see if I can find it real quick. There's one in particular that I used to use, Next Insurance. That's the one that I used. They connect directly into Amazon. It's meant for third party. It's a great platform. Everything. I think we actually might have it as well. If you check out our third party recommended services, I think we have a link to it to where you get like a discount or something. So yeah, absolutely. Check out Next Insurance. I would just get it. Worst case scenario or best case scenario, you never end up using it, and it's, $50 out of pocket per month that you don't have to worry about. Can we create multiple accounts with 2 different LLCs? Yes, you can. Amazon used to not want you to create multiple accounts, but nowadays they had to change their policy around that. The only thing is just don't sell the same exact product on 2 different accounts. Simple as that. I would also ask the question of why you're doing 2 different accounts and LLCs. There are times when, for instance, people have different businesses, different products, and they want to separate everything. That makes complete sense to me. So the answer there is yes, absolutely. You can have 2 different accounts, 2 different LLCs. Video games explained. I gotta watch your videos or something. Hi Noah, had lower conversion rates this Q1 with my ads. Shall I try and lower my bids or increase them this Q1? Thank you. Yeah, so again, conversion rates in Q1 are going to be a little bit lower overall. So I wouldn't worry too much. It really comes down to optimization, right? So optimize for what Q1 is coming. So think about what is very common and popular within Q1. We have a couple of different holidays. Valentine's passed. St. Patrick's is coming up, but it's going to be spring here soon. So if you have a product that's very geared towards that seasonality, that'll be great for you. Winter sales season is a really big thing. So if you're running a promotion, try and hit on some of those keywords. Those are the basic things. Conversion is always going to be a little bit lower. Do I necessarily say you should raise your ads and your bids or lower bids and increase them in, past Q1? I assume you meant in Q2. You don't need to necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily do it because you might lose ranking as well. And that's what always sucks about seasonality in products and just on Amazon in general is when you hit some seasonality, it can be detrimental to your selling rank. So don't let off the gas. Look at things from a full year picture, not just from a, hey, this is 3-month period is kind of sucking for me right now. What are non-conventional advertising strategies? Ooh, mailers. I mean, like, when's the last time you've gotten a thing in the mail for a product? That would actually be kind of interesting. But mailers, that's one. You could look at doing things. I mean, not non-conventional. I think what you're asking is like things outside regular PPC. There's tons of different ways you can advertise out of regular PPC. You can do email lists. That's a really big one, email marketing. I'm seeing a lot of success nowadays with that. You can do user-generated content. That's another really, really big one. That comes down to also things like creator connections. That's, really big. Influencer content, Google advertising. All of these are kind of not really non-conventional, right? But they are different from Amazon PPC. And I think that's more so what you're asking. All right, let's see. A little bit of water. All right. Blizzard. I also could not send inventory as was running out of stock due to non-compliance issues such as needing an SDS for beauty product being hazardous, even though deadline is till May. Seller support awful. Yes, seller support is awful. But they claim otherwise. Yeah, I mean, when Amazon claims something as hazardous goods, you really have to just go through the process of getting the documentation sheets and SDS sheets to show that it's not hazardous. It's a pain in the butt at the end of the day. I've seen it even times where there's like pump sprays, and that technically can classify as an aerosol in some cases, right? So, yeah, either way, it's just something to, keep in mind at the end of the day. Let's see here. There we go. Sub for no reason gameplay. Okay. Hello, Noah. Is it worth having an account with more ad spend so it's everywhere? We have a client and he's less private label seller and more pink label seller. So we think our ACoS will be lower. Not really. So the thing that I think you're asking here is, does it make sense to just target super high search volume keywords that are not extremely relevant just so that you'll appear in more places? And the answer is no, not really. That's not how Amazon works, right? Amazon's algorithm is very specific in how people purchase, and it is tailored to people getting products that they want, right? And what they are looking for specifically. So if you get into the function or into a situation where you're just doing, dude, what's going on with my hair? Nah, I'm getting a haircut today. Anyways, if you're getting into a situation where you are essentially having a lot of issues actually growing and succeeding, I would just say you're not targeting relevancy, right? And that's, just spending money to spend money on advertising never is something that will necessarily benefit you at the end of the day. What is a good conversion rate for sponsored display? Auto similar products. I have a good return on sponsored products, but the display, they just give me sessions, 0 conversion. Yeah. It depends on where you're targeting for sponsor display. If you're targeting similar products, that usually just won't work out if you're a higher price, right? Or if your product isn't like super competitive in some capacity, you're going to have a lower conversion rate. So it's going to be much lower than sponsored product at the end of the day. I would probably consider something around, a 0.5 to be a good conversion rate on or 0.5% to be a good conversion rate on sponsored display. So lower than seller or sponsored products, just because sponsored display has a different purpose, different niche, right? It's much more brand awareness. Yes, auto similar products I'm up in the air about, because I don't think Amazon's all that great at doing auto targeting similar products at the end of the day. The amount of times that I've set up an auto campaign and then looked at like search terms and looked at what Amazon's targeting. It's targeting a bunch of products that have 0 relevancy, or products that we're never going to take market share from, right? Like a product that is $6 when you're a $60 product, that'll never work. So sponsor display is not the type of thing that I would set and forget like a regular keyword auto campaign. I would much rather with sponsor display spend the time to really fine tune it to get the most out of it. So it can be a conversion driver, but you really have to actually know what you're doing and actually fine tune it, because auto sponsor display just doesn't work in my opinion. Jeffrey Wilkes, if you add more alt text to old listings, e.g. 2 years, does it help with ranking? Of course. Alt text always going to help. So alt text can go on your brand story. It can go on your A+ content. It's areas that you can add tons and tons and tons of extra SEO juice into a listing. And so absolutely, even if it's 2 years old, the thing that comes down to ranking is sales volume, right? So as long as you are getting sales, you have the ability to rank on keywords. And whatnot and actually get something out of them. But that's what really matters at the end of the day is, are you getting sales on a listing that's 2 years old? If not, then you're not going to be able to continue ranking on it. But I mean, I've optimized listings that are 10 years old at this point in time. Brandon, what would be your launch launch strategy for someone with $1,000 budget for first month? I know my competitors' best performing keywords, so I was thinking about targeting those. Yes and no. I don't necessarily think you should always go after the best performing keywords, because you have to think about, if you know what your competitors are performing on best and they're organic rank 1 and sponsored rank 1 on something, you're going to have a very hard time tapping into that, right? Especially if it's like a branded keyword at that as well. So what I would instead advise here would be to go after a little bit lower search volume, extremely niche, high relevancy keywords to your product and dig into them. Find about 30 different keywords that are just extremely relevant to your product. Doesn't matter if they only have 250 search volume, capitalize on it. Because the thing that Amazon wants to see more than anything when you first launch is sales volume. Sales volume will lead Amazon into the idea of being like, this is a good product, push it. Let's get this product in front of people. Let's increase organic rank, etc. It's the reason that you can see products that have been around for 3 weeks have 5 reviews and are already page 1 doing 10,000 units a month, right? It's for that reason that Amazon cares about Amazon cares about relevancy and sales volume at the end of the day. So choose keywords you can actually beat and win on and get sales volume from, rather than ones where you're trying to take market share. Your purpose when you very first launch a product is not to take market share from the top guy in the category. Zane, should you increase PPC budgets if tacos stay the same? Our profit has barely increased, but our PPC has doubled, but our tacos has stayed relatively the same. So you saying your profit has barely increased, yet your tacos has stayed the same, doesn't make sense if you have more sales volume. That those things don't correlate. So your profit at the end of the day, and that's where tacos comes in, right? Is profit and whatnot, and it's part of that. I always am going to tell people though, if you are at 10% tacos and you doubled your advertising budget, right, tomorrow, doubled your advertising budget, and you saw a direct no increase in tacos, keep doing it, right? There is zero reason not to increase your advertising if your tacos metric never moves. The entire purpose of advertising at the end of the day is to get your product seen and sold, right? Advertising doesn't always correlate to somebody purchased product here, I spent ad dollar here, right? Sometimes it correlates to brand growth and brand identity in a lot of areas, right? And that turns into organic growth and organic sales, which means your tacos stays the same, even if you're spending more on advertising. So it's one of the things where at the end of the day, a lot of people, I think, are very hesitant to continuously raise their advertising budget as long as their tacos is staying in a realm that makes sense for them. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well, doing quite well. I keep having this glare on my glasses. Let me do something. I got a little. It's much darker here now. I don't look as much like a ghost, I suppose. But all right, we're getting a lot of clicks on our PPC campaigns, but the conversion rate is low. We're optimizing our listing, but where should we focus to improve conversions? Also, we're seeing organic sales, but PPC sales are not converting as well. What could be the possible reasons for this? A couple of different reasons. So if you're getting a lot of clicks on PPC but not seeing conversion, that to me tells me 2 things. Either 1, your PDP is not optimized for conversion, or 2, your price is too high. When I say not optimized, it could be that you are targeting a relevancy adjacent keyword, right? So great example of this. I actually was talking to someone the other day. They were selling turkey calls, I guess. I don't know what you call it, but it's to like call turkeys for hunting, right? Their top keywords and the things that they were going after and targeting from advertising were not even turkey calls, but rather the chalk that goes with it. The issue with that is that people who are searching for the chalk are expecting to buy the chalk, which is a $5 item, and their turkey call is like a $160 item, right? So they get a ton of clicks, ton of impressions, and no sales because nobody is going in. They will look at it and be like, "Oh, that's really nice. Not what I need, though." So that's the type of thing you need to understand when you're optimizing for conversion and how you're actually targeting in your PPC. From there, it sounds a lot like, let's see, you're seeing organic sales, PPC sales are not converting. Yeah, that sounds like you're just not hitting relevant keywords. Very much similar. Take a look, step back, and look at what you're actually targeting from your PPC side. See if it makes sense what you're targeting. If you're actually going to get conversion from that, or if it's something where people aren't trying to buy in that category, right? If you're doing something where you're targeting something similar to your product, but not this exact same, could always be an issue. Zane, very much appreciated on the answer. So why do you not like more than one ad group? Is it not more structured? So how you structure your campaign so you don't lose track of lose track of hundreds of campaigns? Well, first off, if you have hundreds of campaigns and you're doing less than, like 100,000 a month, well, actually probably more than that. Honestly, there are brands that I work with regularly that are doing $500,000 in sales a month and only have 250 campaigns because they are extremely well optimized, right? So if you have like hundreds and hundreds of campaigns, that's a problem in itself. But without talking about that specifically, my personal preference is just that because I like to label a campaign exactly what that campaign is doing, right? So what is that campaign's purpose? What is it doing? I can look from a very high level and see exactly how everything is performing at the end of the day. That also lets me go into things like my bulk sheets and see how everything is performing, make optimizations very, very, very quickly on a ad group by ad group level. So these are the reasons. Really just comes down at the end of the day to personal preference, I think, more than anything. But I personally find it's much more well optimized when you do it from a single ad group perspective. Jeff, will vendor allow us to list the same ASINs in seller? The vendor manager said is frowned upon, but she didn't say no. It's frowned upon because they don't like the idea of people getting off of vendor. Can you? Absolutely. Do they want you to? Of course they don't. It's their job to keep you on Vendor Central. So of course your vendor manager is going to say, oh, it's kind of frowned upon, but we're not going to say no. They can't tell you no. That's why. It's not a matter of she didn't say no. It's that they can't tell you no for that. So absolutely go ahead, list your product on seller. That being said, big thing I'll let you know, probably not going to get much buy box because you're currently selling on vendor side. Usually I'm guessing, Jeff, you're planning on switching over to 3P at some point in time here, which if that's the case, totally fine. It just takes time at the end of the day. And, if you have a vendor manager, it's a lot easier to do than if you don't. Hi, regarding wholesale model, what is the best practice to get buy box rotation? Is there any good resources to read about it more? When you're a wholesaler or a reseller of any kind and you are competing for buy box, there are two things that can really affect, well, three things, I should say, technically, that affect your amount of buy box. The first one is price. Who has the lowest price product? That is like the number one key thing at the end of the day is whoever has the lowest price product, they're going to be, winner, chicken dinner. Number two is your seller history and feedback. So how long have you been a seller? Somebody who is the exact same price as you, but has 10,000 seller feedback while you have 10 seller feedback is much, much more likely to get that product or that buy box placement more frequently than you will. They'll probably get 60 to 70% of the time, and you would only get, 30. And then finally, the only other aspect that I usually consider in this, advertising. Because when you advertise, a listing, a product, and you are the one paying for the advertisement, when they click on the product, you are the one that pops up. Doesn't matter if you are $100 more than someone else, doesn't matter anything. It will show you as the seller. Does that stop the customer from going and clicking the other sellers and saying and seeing, oh, I can buy this for $100 cheaper? No. But it does get you buy box rotation, technically speaking, at the cost of you having to advertise. Unfortunately, John, I don't speak Spanish. I will have someone on here very soon, I believe, who does speak Spanish. So if you want to come back like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, we'll have someone on here. If I have the same ASIN in vendor and seller central and create A plus or A plus premium in seller, will it show on the PDP if vendor wins the buy box? Vendor still wants 250K for A plus premium. Yeah, that's crazy work. Yes, it will, Jeff. So the thing is that you may not be able to update the listing. So Amazon owns, when you are a vendor central 1P seller, Amazon owns the primary contribution rights to listings. It's the number one issue when people are switching from 1P to 3P, is getting that primary contribution rights and for Amazon to give it up so you can actually make edits to a listing. So yes, you can create that premium A plus and you can try and update, but it's not a sure thing that it will update. So instead, you would have to go through Amazon and try and get them through Vendor Central to update the Premium A Plus with what you have created there. If you have a vendor manager, it's a little bit easier, but at the end of the day, it's not the easiest process no matter what. John Kim, is Amazon AWD good? Do you recommend? I had sent my first batch directly to 5 fulfillment centers. I'm about to purchase second order 500 units. Wondering if I should use AWD. Advice? Appreciate. Yeah, I like AWD. I think it's one of the nicer aspects of Amazon, to be honest. It's not awful by any means, any measure. It's a little pricier than like your standard 3PL. But there are some benefits to it, right? Where it will auto replenish your FBA inventory, so you never have to worry about running out of stock. There's benefits here and there, but it is a little bit pricier. I like it though. I haven't seen many major issues since they have really fine-tuned the process. If you asked me this a year ago, I would have told you I'm very hesitant on AWD because I was seeing a lot of problems with it. But they have fine-tuned a lot of AWD, and so it's much better now than it was, a year ago. Let's see. Minecraft, thanks for your answer. So to follow up on that, on Q1 conversion rates fall, but why? Are people just scrolling for no reason, not buying? If those people didn't scroll, then conversion rate should stay the same. Yeah, people are just scrolling and not buying for no reason. It's exactly that. It's people are going, for reference standpoint, I'm people. Right now, I have, if I take a quick little gander at my Amazon, I have 8 items that I have put into my Amazon cart that I have had in there for probably 2-3 weeks and not checked out with. That's also very rare for someone like me, I should say, because I probably place like 2 to 3 Amazon orders a week normally. So that number is pretty odd for me. But yeah, it's type thing. People just don't buy as much in Q1, right? People are trying to save money, but they still are window shoppers at the end of the day. I found you last night. I'm an Amazon seller, have a good personal brand, and familiar with high ticket sales. Looking to build an agency working with brands to scale their brand. Is that what you do? Yeah, we're full service. We do everything across the board. So we also work with agencies as well to help them. So we have a service called My Agency Guy. I would highly recommend you check it out if you're looking to get into the agency space. We give a lot of our process and everything and help coach people who are trying to get into the niche. But on top of that, yeah, it's what we do. We scale brands. We currently work with about 400 brands internally right now, about 1,000 different ones every single year. So absolutely. Blizzard, if had decent sales in Q4 2024, will it follow a historic trend for this year's Q4? With more optimization reviews, even with more competitors and good change to make profit in Q4. Yeah. Yes, typically speaking, you're going to see more, but you have to continually optimize during the year, Blizzard. So the big thing is that your Q4 is only as impactful as the strides you made during the rest of the year. You can't expect to do nothing throughout the entirety of the year, Q1 through Q3, and then go into Q4 and be like, yeah, I'm going to make a ton of sales, you got to make sure you keep your BSR up, you get well optimized, etc. So yes, historics do obviously help you, but what helps you the most is just making sure you're consistent and you're well optimized. Can you explain how and why to use the plus sign plus, okay, with keywords? Are you talking about like backends SEO? Or are you talking about what? I don't think you. You're talking about like advertising. Yeah. So advertising, you can use the plus to essentially. It's somewhat like using a phrase in a sense. So using plus sign is a way to essentially include a phrase without necessarily having it be in that phrase, because a space can sometimes, or a comma, be seen as a delimiter. So you're essentially using a plus sign to ensure that the actual thing doesn't, or actually does count within that phrase. That's probably not a great explanation of it. Let me do this, EJ. This actually groggy throat today, apparently. Let me do a video or something on it. I'll do a little short, just kind of doing a recording on my phone, and I'll post it either our short page on our YouTube or on my LinkedIn or something like that. So go over to LinkedIn. If you just look up on LinkedIn, Noah Wickham, I should probably be like the first result. Follow me. I'll post it sometime there this weekend. If Q1 is slower, then why does it start to pick up? This is our first ever Q1. I know it's normal to have lower sales, but seeing when does it? Seeing mentally hurting us, always need to feel like change some. Usually towards March. So March is about when things start to pick up. So people are more likely to spend, as it seems odd, but as seasons change. So as we start getting into spring, think about it in the sense of people are going to start getting outside more. People are going to start spending money again. We're kind of a ways. People have had about a quarter to do things, etc. Right. So those are things to think about. The big thing there as well to just like keep in consideration is Amazon's going to have their big spring sales event, I think it's called, or something like that. It's essentially their spring Prime Day or Prime Week at this point in time. So that happens, I believe, in March, April, somewhere around there. I would have to check the dates again. But yeah, so usually about the middle part of March, end of March is when sales kind of start picking back up again. When you are about to go out of stock for a few months, if you close the listing do you still keep indexing and ranking when you go back in stock? No. I'm so sick of this being perpetuated. I don't know who in the world started this rumor amongst Amazon people that for some reason they think that if you close a listing, instead of just going on stock, that you keep all of your ranking. That's just not true, because if that was the case, there are a million products out there that would still be ranked extremely highly, extremely well, that have been on stock for years. I have been ranked 2 in categories before. Those products have been long gone. I don't get to just, come back in and be ranked 2 organically for anything, right? Now, that being said, is there a bit of a bounce back period when it comes to getting back in stock if you had good ranking beforehand? Yes, there is. I believe in the idea of a rubber band effect a little bit on Amazon. If you once were really, really high ranked, it can become easier if you come back in stock and everything to be high ranked again. Depends on the time frame. If it's outside of a 180-day window, no, it makes no difference whatsoever, because 180-day window matters a ton on Amazon for your actual ranking. So the big thing at the end of the day, Jeff, the only thing that closing down before you're fully out of stock does is it saves you the hassle of Amazon being angry at you from a fulfillment side for going out of stock, which is, yes, a huge seen on Amazon regardless. No matter what, it's a problem to go out of stock. Hope you are doing. I am doing. I would like to ask about PPC campaigns I've launched recently. Okay. I currently do a phrase match, which did perform well. And then I launched an auto close match, which didn't perform quite well for me because the ACOS crossed 100%. And I have watched in some video that we should put our target keywords in auto campaign. Okay. You can't put keywords in auto campaigns. So let's start there. And one more thing that I tried to target ASIN with same and high selling price, similar products, but I am not getting impressions on it. It is because of low bid that we should put targets in negative keyword campaigns of the auto. Yeah, so always negate targets. Like always do negations, but only obviously bad keywords. You don't want to negate targets you actually want to hit. If you have a target that you are doing in a separate campaign, yes, put it into your auto campaign as a negation, so you're not double dipping. As far as the ASIN side of things, yeah, it's completely just low bid. If you're not getting impressions, there are a few reasons. We have a video on our YouTube channel. If you just type in impressions, I go in depth of like 5 to 10 different reasons as to why your ads aren't getting impressions. Go watch that video. Extremely insightful. It will tell you exactly all the places to check and do a walkthrough of how to check them. But yeah, absolutely do that one. And then finally, the thing of where you have a phrase match, I launch auto close match and it didn't perform quite well. If you're at 100% ACOS with auto close match, that makes me think that you are way overbidding, like drastically overbidding. Auto campaign should always be low bid volume. You should not be up high bid in the slightest. Off topic, but really appreciate you taking the time to answer our questions, Noah. It really helps small sellers like us when there is so much information everywhere. Appreciate it a lot, guys. I love it too. I am happy to. You are very welcome. I love doing this stuff and answering all you guys' questions. It gives me a little break at the end of the week too. I want to improve my SEO, but don't know where to start. What's the first fundamental things to change first? Always start with your bullet points, title, description. I mean, obviously, and then from there, work your way towards doing your alt text and updating it. First fundamental thing to start, get a Helium 10 subscription. Check out your brand analytics, go into your search query performance, see where you currently have keywords that are underperforming. Check out your competitors, see what keywords they're currently ranking on and get a current keyword list from that. Look and see certain keywords that you are indexed on but not ranking on, add those back into your current SEO. Look at your back end keywords as well. Oh, super niche, but if there is a field on the back end of Amazon for you to fill in that is even slightly relevant for you, that you have the information for, fill it in. It literally can't hurt. But yeah, that's the basics of the fundamentals. I would say as well, just type in SEO to our YouTube channel. The amount of SEO videos that I've done, Steven has done, and God knows however many other people have done and posted on our channel, is, I would guess, in the hundreds. I mean, we're constantly talking about SEO here. Hi, Noah. When you create a manual campaign based on keywords, should you choose all match types, broad, phrase, and exact? No. I personally don't. I will make every single campaign based on each type that I am targeting. So I'll make a exact campaign, phrase campaign, and a broad campaign. One, this is a lot cleaner. You know exactly what the campaign is doing. Two, you're not going to run into issues where, for instance, if I do a exact match towards the big red boat, but then I also do a phrase match towards red boat, you're hitting same, right? So you're going over top each other. Don't cannibalize yourself. All right. We have a product inventory in USA and we want to send it to Amazon UK warehouse. Okay. We have contact many shipping companies, but no one giving DDP. We need DDP, including all taxes and customs clearance. We have more than 3,000 or 4,000 units and total weight is 3 tons. Here's what I will tell you. Two different things. One, look up Amazon specific shipping companies. That it sounds weird, but there are companies that will deal specifically with e-commerce sellers and people who need DDP. Also, it's odd if you've contacted a bunch of different shipping companies and they haven't given you DDP. That's super weird. Honestly, it's super weird. Secondarily, use Amazon Global Logistics. It will make your life a lot easier. If you're having this hard of a time, it sounds to me like maybe you're not super familiar with how international logistics works outside of like China to US, which is super common. But going to other countries, it's different. It's a different process, right? So what I would just honestly advise you to do is for the first couple of shipments, go through Amazon Global Logistics. It will make your life a lot easier. They have all of the process within Amazon. You won't run into the issue of not having specific details that are needed. They only work with Amazon partnered carriers. It's just a much, much simpler process. Touchstone, good to see you. When transferring an account, not just a brand, what is the latest recommendation? What are things that two accounts can't share? EIN, primary email, anything else? Sharing phone and an address, okay. No, I wouldn't share any information whatsoever. You can share essentially name, right? What's your name, right? But do not share. You can't share actually your EIN. You can't share a primary email address. You can't share an LLC information or business information. Technically can share an address, but I try not to. There's no reason not to. You can get a virtual address or anything like that a million places. You get a phone a million places. Get a Google Voice number. All of those work. So, my advice, Touchstone, make it all completely separate. If you are at a point where you have two Amazon accounts, there isn't a reason to have anything that is the same, anyways. And if there was a reason to, you should just have everything under one Amazon account, right? So make it all separate. It's two separate entities, two separate businesses. You're trying to separate everything into two accounts. Do everything different. Also makes it so much easier as well down the line if, let's say, you want to sell the brand and the account and the business. If it's already all separate, that's super easy because you won't run into any issues of changing the information there and then it connects back to your other account. When first launched, fees were 4.84 or 4.84 for referral fee and ship fee. In New Year, Amazon don't charge me a referral fee anymore, so I only pay $284 now. Is this true? And do they offer discounts and will it last? That sounds like that's an error in some way, shape, or form, Blizzard. That should be cheaper in Q1. So Amazon does charge more for referral fee and ship fee and everything. They charge more for that in Q4. It sounds like you might have a product that falls under, it's not called small and light program anymore. And I'm archaic and old for thinking that's what it's still called. But if you have a product that falls under that small and light program, or whatever the heck it's called nowadays, I'll have to look that up after. Anyways, if you have something in that program, yeah, the fees are drastically reduced in Q1. The fees for those products that are like under $10, for instance, are those ones are normal fees essentially in Q4, but then in Q1 it drops down drastically. It goes from like something like a normal of like $2.75 to like 75 cents. So like, yeah, it's not surprising if you're only paying that, but it sounds like, yeah, you have a small and light product. Is it worth duplicating keyword in a listing? For example, using the same keyword in the title, bullet point, alt text, or is it enough for a keyword to appear once in the title and alt text? And should I focus on new keywords, new words to include as many possible? So there's like a fine line to this. The answer I will give you is it doesn't necessarily matter to purposefully put a keyword in a bunch of different places over and over and over. There is some semblance to it, potentially having repetition helps you rank for a keyword better and index for it. But that being said, it's not a direct requirement to start indexing and ranking for a keyword. There's also no real data that shows doing it a bunch helps you. Doing it a couple of times, I think, is reasonable. It's reasonable to say if you are selling a pillow that you are going to have the word pillow in your listing in multiple places, right? It's reasonable to say that, but if you are purposefully chalk and full your listing pillow, 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 that's not helping you. At the end of the day, it just doesn't. Unfortunately. So not something you need to do or need to really worry about doing. When buying a brand, what are the pros, cons of buying the account as well as the brand, or buying only the brand and not the account? Pros, cons, you get to essentially do exactly what I was just saying, Touchstone. The pro side is you get to have a completely separate entity, completely separate everything that handles end-to-end everything, right? So you keep everything in two different businesses, completely separate, and you now have two different businesses. And that's what's essentially, you are buying a business. You are not buying a brand in that case, right? So you are buying an asset transfer in a way, I believe is the correct terminology for it. If you are going to transfer the brand into an account, the con of that, I will say, is the idea of now you have two accounts to run and two accounts to manage and two different ad spends and two different businesses and etc. The con side of this would be the idea of or the pro for brand, I should say, would be the idea that you can store the brands under one Seller Central account, manage everything under one house. You can bring it into your current business structure, into your current taxes, etc. Makes it a little bit simpler at the end of the day. It also really depends how much you're doing on each brand. Realistically, that's a big thing to keep in mind. So, yeah, I mean, those are the big things. Thoughts on using Quartop or Amazon Ad Management? I had a call with them last week, but wanted to know your thoughts. Don't. I don't. AI ad management, I just don't like it. I used to be on the fence, right? I used to be a guy that was like, you know what? It has some purpose. And I think it still does, to be fair. AI ad management makes a lot of sense if your option is either to go with AI ad management or to do it yourself. And the only thing that you care about is hitting like an ACoS metric, right? If that's the only thing you care about at the end of the day, keeping your ACoS a consistent 25%, and you don't know anything about advertising, AI ad management is not that bad of a, idea for you. That being said, there are much better options at the end of the day. We just put out a video, or I think Steven just put out a video, I think, on this, where he and I were talking the other day about what we think of different ads types. Yeah. So, I just tried to present a screen that's not there. Here we go. If you go to our channel, watch this video. So I helped Steven rank these and whatnot. It's one of the things where I put AI ad management actually a little bit lower than Steven had initially done. I think he had done it either at like a B or an A. I can't remember. But yeah, it's one of the things where absolutely at the end of the day, if you can just hire somebody to do it, I would just hire somebody who has experience, I should say. Somebody who has experience in agency, something like that, is usually just going to be better, in my opinion. If a competitor with a newly launched product sells 1K pieces per month, oh, goodness, I'm burping. I don't know why. If a competitor with a newly launched product sells 1K pieces per month, and I only sell 10% of that, how can I compete as an individual seller versus company who have more money on advertising? You go after longer, lower search volume keywords that are less apt, and you try and take market share from you only need to sell 10% of that. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like they essentially have a huge ad budget. Yeah. So you try and take market share from smaller competitors, right? So if somebody has a huge ad budget and they're beating you out of every single freaking keyword, you can't do much outside of increase your ad spend. But you can go after the keywords they're not targeting, go after the competitors they're not targeting, try and keep market share in some capacity. They will stop at some point. They just will. They can't keep it up. It's a very common launch strategy. It's how I used to launch, actually. Most of my products is I would just smash money in for 3 months of just, negative profit margins, just for the sake of growing the product sales. It works great. It's iffy in this day and age, but sometimes depends on the category. All right. We got a ton of questions still. Dude, you guys are filling up the question log here. All right. How do you calculate organic sales, considering that ad sales include customers who click an ad and then purchase the product a few days later, given that the ad look back window is 7 days? Yeah. So you take all of your ad sales out of your organic. So, I mean, that's called attribution. It's purposeful, right? Attribution means something. If somebody clicks your product from an ad and purchases it within 7 days, honestly, Amazon's attribution window is tiny compared to like every other marketing platform out there. Most marketing platforms look at attribution on a 30-day scale, right? Somebody clicks your ad, and if within 30 days they purchase a product and everything, that usually goes to your attribution for that ad, regardless of if they clicked off and it is day 30, right? So yeah, just take your ad sales, subtract that from your total sales. There you go. You now have organic. Don't discount attribution if it has a look back of 7 days. Don't discount that from as not an advertised sale. It still is an advertised sale. Advertising is not meant for a someone clicks now, buys now, right? Advertising is meant for awareness, right? You don't buy a billboard with the hope that somebody sees your billboard and then immediately walks into your store, right? You buy a billboard in the hopes that somebody sees your billboard, sees it again, and then, 2 weeks go by and they're like, I need that thing. And then they go to your store. So it's one of the things that I see, a very, very common thing, where Amazon brands and Amazon sellers don't understand typical marketing practices like that, right? And attribution is a very normal marketing practice that I very much encourage people to just go with the flow with. When do reviews stop mattering? Does every new review equal more SEO and more sales? And what's the threshold? 100 when they don't matter? Also, Vine reviews with pics and videos are better for sales. I mean, yeah, pics and videos are better for sales, but realistically, I hate Vine. The average Vine review is a 4.0, whereas the average review in general with a well-optimized listing is 4.3. So take that for what you will. What I will tell you is that if you are typically somewhere around the ballpark of 500, that is when I would say 250 to 500 is when reviews start mattering. What matters most of all is your actual rating for reviews, but the number of reviews matters secondary to that, right? So if you have a 4.0, let's say, rating, and you have 250 reviews, that's better, in my opinion, than having a 4.5 with 5 reviews. Nobody cares if you've only been reviewed 5 times. Realistically, I mean, it's just a thing. However, that being said, typically speaking, 500, 1,000 is when it's like, you're kind of, once you're in 1,000 reviews, you're kind of locked into your review rating, right? So your rating overall, it's hard to get lower, get higher after 1,000 reviews, just because quantity, right? You assume that you will have, if you are getting the topmost amount of reviews, 3% of total sales are going to result in a review. And that's like extremely well. Average is 1.7% of, total sales. So that means for every 1,000, orders, you should expect 17, reviews, somewhere in that ballpark. It can be higher depending on the category, can be lower. So things like consumables, that typically just has more apt opportunity to get more reviews. So that can sometimes count less, I guess. Ali, I have one listing on which my price and one hijacker price is the same, but I'm running PPC as well as my rating is better than hijacker. Can I increase the price? Will this affect my buy box rotation? Yes, it will affect your buy box rotation. So the hijacker, buy box is always determined by price, by seller record, and history, and then advertising, right? So I think I answered that a little bit earlier, which it's still the same case even if it's hijacker. What I would say is get the hijacker off, buy their product, show that it's a fake product. I had lost the buy box, and Amazon sent me the message 2 days ago that I now have reduced impressions. How long will it take for them to return to normal? So if you lost buy box, you need to get buy box back to get impressions. So you can't really get impressions. That's like a hidden suppression when you lose the featured offer. So if you lose your buy box, then yes, you need to get your buy box back before you can start getting impressions again. Impressions will return to normal as you start to get your BSR back, which just comes down to sales volume. Focus on advertising in the meantime. I understand that the original brand seller with sales history would get better treatment from Amazon than a new seller who acquired the brand / Asians, but by how much better? That's not really the case. I mean, that's the type of stuff that's more rhetoric than anything. I think Touchstone and the idea of people being like, "Oh, they're gonna be so much nicer to this account because it's the original person." No, they don't care. It's not some guy in the behind the scenes who's looking at every seller account and every brand and being like, "Yeah, this is the guy," right? What I will tell you though is that in these situations, it depends. Like, does that account have more sales history than you? Does it have more seller feedback than you? These are the type of things to consider. So like something to consider is sometimes consumers like to purchase from the exact same brand or seller as the brand name. It's rare, but it can happen, and it depends on the category. So things like supplements, it's more likely that people will purchase like that. Whereas apparel, it doesn't matter as much. So that's something to keep in consideration. But realistically speaking, yeah, it's not like there's some guy in the background of Amazon being like, they switched the brand to a new account. That's bad. It doesn't matter. Realistically, at the end of the day, the change will be minimal. Most likely that rhetoric comes from the idea of like decreased sales while you're trying to change the brand, and then therefore you have a lower BSR, and so therefore your organic rank is lower. Exactly. So that's the type of thing that it comes to. Unsponsored. Oh, I already answered that. Test Gmail. Amazon showing. Why did you post the same comment like 25 times? Seriously. This is you guys don't see it on. I see it. Oh, I guess you do see it if you're actually looking at it. You posted this like 25 times. Amazon showing price hidden one of my variation. I changed the minimum price, but working even with bulk sheet. I don't even know what this is asking. Showing hidden price on. Oh, okay. Yeah. Here's the answer. If you ever get into a situation where on your product it's showing the price as hidden and that you need to add it to your cart before you can see the price. So if the price is hidden and you have to add it to your cart before you see the price, that simply means that you have either a maximum price or a minimum price that is set on the back end of your listing, and your current selling price is either higher or lower than what your maximum and minimum are set on it. Take away the maximum and minimum prices. Those aren't useful for you at the end of the day. All it does is create errors and issues like this. So that should solve it. If you go to the back end of your listing, change those two fields and you'll be fine. Let's see. Bunch of see, don't spam, man. No one wants to see it more. I won't. I for reference, guys, on my end, you guys probably see it in a whole thing, but we stream this every single week across like 7 different platforms, like 5 to 7 platforms, depending on the week. So on the back end, all of those platforms get into the same little feed. spamming does nothing. I don't scroll faster with spam. Let's see here. If you want me to see it, dono. I will always see a dono first and foremost because those get starred and I immediately see them unless I don't look, in which case, sorry. When you do FBM and you set your product on vacation mode for 2 weeks, does your product ranking fall? Technically speaking, yes, because you're not getting sales volume. So sales is what affects ranking. You're not going to have as bad of a time, and you're going to bounce back pretty quickly because it's only 2 weeks, but you're not going to see too much of it. I appreciate you guys all jumping in and defending me. Let's see here. Can we submit own questions on listings and answer them ourselves to help the customer understand the products more? And does it help with SEO or not as much? I believe you can. You can technically put questions in on the back end as well, like FAQs. I don't remember the specific way in which you go about in doing it, unfortunately, with Blizzard. You want to shoot me an email at podcast@myamazonguy.com. I'll look into it and get you. I'm sure we have an SOP or something for it. I just can't remember off the top of my head where exactly it is. But yeah, there's like an FAQ section that actually, now I think about it, the FAQ might be related to A+ content. And so if you're asking the specific questions, frequently asked questions from reviews, I don't believe you can submit those, but I could be wrong. So I'll ask around internally on that. H10 will not let you link to VC. Is there a service like H10 that has similar features that will link to VC? I'm not positive on that one, Jeff. I think there is one that I know about. Let me verify before I actually say something so that people don't have to look. I'm still not positive on this, Jeff. What I was going to say is I think Jungle Scout Cobalt might be able to link into it. It's a enterprise grade version of Jungle Scout that's mainly meant for a lot of more analytic data and like market research and such, but I could be wrong. I'm not positive. I haven't played too much with Cobalt too often. A lot of the data for VC, I mean, it depends on what data you're looking for, right? Like, are you looking for listing stuff or anything like that? Because if that's the case, I mean, you can still get all of that data from H10. There's nothing that H10 should be giving you outside of like the listing alerts and stuff like that, that you can't just get from H10 as a VC seller. So I'm not 100% on that, but that would be my kind of first thing is go check out Cobalt. A couple of different people over there can help you out. And then secondarily, I mean, realistically, majority of H10's tools. So it sounds like you're trying to use a specific tool on H10. But all right, guys, I got to, I got bounced, but let me do this one. I couldn't find on Mag the service to help transfer a brand/account. Where is that? Yeah, so we would put that typically like brand transfer stuff under usually like troubleshooting hours. I mean, we can technically help out with it. It's kind of pain in the butt. We'll do it. More than happy to do it for you, Touchstone, but it's not going to be a fast process by any means, just to let you know. And usually it's type thing that we a lot of times with like a transfer of a brand and an account, we won't help with like an account transfer because we just can't. There's nothing that a secondary user can upload onto an account. It has to be a primary ownership user and the primary account holder for a lot of that account transfer stuff. That being said, I've done coaching calls and stuff, walking people through the entire process. I'd be more than happy to do that with you if you want to book one with me. Secondarily, for like a brand transfer from one account to another, we can definitely do that aspect of things. That's not a problem. If you want to just reach out to us, just shoot an email over podcast@myamazonguy.com. Reach out to me. More than happy to help you out and kind of, look at what the process would be like. And at the very least, just consult with you. So, all right, guys, I'm going to call it there. It was, off to a rocky start because I forgot to turn on my mic this morning on all sorts of stuff. Bad cam, who knows? But anyways, I will wrap up here. And while wrapping up, I will say, for those of you who do not know, we are My Amazon Guy. We are a full service Amazon agency. We do everything on Amazon A to Z. If there is something on Amazon to be done, we probably do it outside of apparently, submitting data for account transfers. Being said, we will coach you and consult you through the account transfers. So if you want coaching, head on over to the coaching page. Feel free to, book a call with me, book a call with Joseph, either one of us. You can even just ask me a question at the end of the day, which do I understand is a little ironic considering I do this every single week. Yes, but nonetheless, it's still there if you want me to kind of converse back and forth in depth a little bit more than I do on this live Q&A on your specific topics. Always happy to help people. We have a ton of different services that I would check out. We also have some new services as well for anyone who's doing anything off Amazon. We have some new services for SEO, for websites, email marketing, and backlink building. Definitely check those out if you're someone who is interested in growing not just on Amazon, but also off Amazon as well. Past that, I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend and fantastic week ahead. And we will be back next week, Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern, for more questions. So see you, everybody.